part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome to another edition of the Regi and Rhoda podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network, sponsored by MGM Northfieldpark. Northfieldpark is your home for live and simulcast racing. Catch the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday evening with a 6 p.m. post time. And visit Northfieldpark this Friday and Saturday for the Breeders' Cup World Championship simulcast live from Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Both championship days offer free handicapping contests with cash prizes. Don't miss these 2 incredible days of racing with $31 million in purses and awards, free admission and free parking every day at Northfield Park. That's far more exciting, Michael Regi, than what we're going to talk about on this podcast, going to be known as the OBJ podcast. And I don't want to say to our listeners out there in the podcastosphere that we told you so, Michael Regi, but in our last podcast, guess what? We told you so about this, didn't we?
Yeah, it's the last thing that you want to be dealing with, Kenny, is your 4-4 football team and go into week 9. Very important divisional battle. And I'll tell you, I Sunday can't come soon enough at 1 o'clock so that you can get the football in the air and start playing the game again, because this week, these first 4 days of this week have been about as divisive for a football team as you can imagine. And we've seen this all before, Kenny. Yeah. Just, we can go back through the years. We're not going to do it, but we've seen this kind of thing all before. And usually it doesn't end well. And so we're going to find out a lot about the resolve and what makes this Cleveland Browns football team tick, Ken, because man, this is one that I'm concerned for them. I'm concerned for them, and I'm concerned about if this thing is just going to go up in flames.
And this all started after the Steelers' loss on Sunday, a dismal loss for the Browns, 15-10 at home. And then on Tuesday morning, the father of Cleveland wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. posted an 11-minute video on social media showing Baker Mayfield missing his son, Odell Beckham Jr., supposedly on a bunch of highlights, the All-22 film, the Eye in the Sky film, and with other things coming on social media and responses and check marks about this, that, and everything else, Michael. And to me, this couldn't have just been his dad. This is my opinion, okay? I have no proof of this. This is just my opinion on this, having covered football for how many years in the National Football League, right? This isn't just dad throwing this out there because of the love of his son and protecting his son, okay? To me, this seemed staged. This seemed tactical. This seemed timed, where they thought maybe if we get this out before the 4 o'clock trading deadline, maybe we can get traded somewhere else because we don't want to be in Cleveland anymore. And unfortunately, the Browns weren't able to get a deal done reportedly with the New Orleans Saints, who they came closest to. And now they're stuck with Odell Beckham Jr., who did not practice the last 2 days as the team excused him from practices. And we're expecting him not to practice on Friday as we tape this Thursday night and not play Sunday in Cincinnati, Michael. And that's why, as you said, this has become so divisive, because this divides a locker room.
Yeah. Well, there's no question about it. And you're going to get, those that have come out, of course, and have said, we welcome Odell back, and, he's one of us. But did you see the comment? Of course, I wish they would have put the man's name to it too. I kind of get it, but then again, I don't, because the unidentified player basically said, we don't need him. We don't want him. He's been nothing but a distraction. He does nothing really to help us anyway.
Amen to that. Whoever said that, I agree with them.
Well, I wish we would have put his name to it. But Kenny, more so than this, let me ask you this. You were an athlete into team sports, as was I. So we've both been through this, correct? Mm-hmm. Kenny, what would your reaction be if your father, God rest his soul, if your father came out and put together, whether it was a video or went on a record or started talking to media, beat writers, whatever, and basically said, hey, my son Kenny's getting screwed by this team and this organization, what would your reaction have been to your dad?
Dad, I can fight my own battles. Please let me handle this. I'm a grown man in a professional sport. Thanks for the love and the support. And at home, that's great to hear from you, but let me handle this my way.
Exactly. And I would have added, Dad, you cannot be doing this ever again.
Yep.
And when it comes to this, I love you with all my heart, but I do not want to hear from you ever again when it comes to the football team I play for.
Right.
That's you're not a part of that. You don't need to do that. So, and we haven't heard from Odell at all.
No,
and,
that's just it.
Yeah, well, so, and, I'm sorry too, again, I don't care who you are, whether you're LeBron James or, we don't want to hear from you about the Cleveland Browns. You aren't in that GD room every day, LeBron. You don't know jack nothing about it, period.
Right. Yep.
I need to hear from you. Don't want to hear from you. Yep. So when I saw that that lied to me. It's like, now the orchestration comes into this. So what? This was all orchestrated. Is this the big? And Kenny, did you see the video?
Yeah.
Did you what? I mean, we got music with the video. We've got.
It was produced by a production company.
I would have thought our man Dave Emmert, who's so excellent at production, did that.
Yeah,
it was that good, Dave. I mean, so what is this? So don't tell me that this was something off the cuff then.
Right.
And haven't heard a damn word from Odell. I mean, that to me, it's very, very bothersome. Very bothersome. It tears apart at the core of everything that you are trying to establish. And Kenny, you know how much that I've been extremely positive all throughout since you and I've about how much I really like Andrew Berry.
Right.
Now, again, I don't know. Maybe he's had a lot of, but he certainly has said nothing at all publicly. He's answered nothing. Point. He's said nothing to this point.
Yep.
How can you, again, I'm not 100% sure, but if you're saying nothing about it, I mean, what's everybody supposed to, have you had these two players of yours together? Have you sat them down? Have you said, listen, neither one of you are going to pull this damn team apart. So if you think you are and you want out of here, let me know and I'll get you the hell out of here. But Kenny, I can't believe it again, okay, so maybe it's all been said by Barry, but we don't know that.
Right.
And if it hasn't, it's for someone that I have a great deal of respect for and really feel that, would never let something like this happen. I hope to hell that he has sat those two down and really let them know that you two, your agents, I don't give a damn. You're not running this football team. Neither one of you. Now, Michael, I hope he has. But Kenny, but again, do we have any proof of that as we sit here and record this podcast? No. All we know is that they excused Odell Beckham from practice.
And that Kevin Stefanski hasn't talked to him either, according to what we've heard as well.
What is I even have no idea what the hell that means. We excused him from practice. What are you rewarding him?
I have no idea, Michael. We were talking about this on the Kenny and JT show on WHBC. Obviously, it's the topic everybody's talking about. And we were going to do a Cavaliers podcast tonight, and instead we're pushing it off to next week. And oh, by the way, people listening, Mark Price next week. Keep your fingers crossed. Things should go well. We'll talk to him about what it takes to build a team like when he and Brad Daugherty and Ronnie Harper and the guys, built a young team like the Cavaliers are trying to do. So that'll be next week. So we have to talk about OBJ because he's unhappy, shocker, Mr. Diva, that he's not getting the ball enough. And I don't know if he put his dad up to it or if his agents did this and used his dad's social media outlet, whatever it is. To me, Michael, where there's smoke, there's fire. And this isn't just dad grabbing that video by chance and throwing it out there. And it's divided. They can say whatever they want. It's divided the locker room because you're going to have players that are going to stick up for OBJ because of what he used to be, not what he is, what he used to be. Okay. And then you're going to have people that are going to stand up, for Baker Mayfield saying, hey, look, last year when OBJ went down with the ACL tear, look what we did without him. And that's what that player basically came out and said, the unnamed player, hey, we've been in this situation before and we're better off without him. So this is not good.
Yeah. Well, just remember, Brown fans, whoever the unnamed player is, which I should have used the proper terminology a moment ago when I brought it up, his description of Odell Beckham Jr. was he's a malcontent.
There you go. Yep.
Called him a malcontent. Now, Kenny, again, you and I with team sports, we've been in locker rooms. And listen, man, it can get combustible as hell, can it not?
Yes.
And you can't tell me that, they're really going to have to, if they go win this football game on Sunday, man, I will certainly give them all the immense credit they deserve. Because I'm here to tell you, man, it usually doesn't go that way. You could say we're gonna, we're gonna tune out all the noise.
We're gonna rally the troops, right?
Yeah,
that's the other cliche.
Okay, and again, we'll go give them nothing but kudos when we do our post game on Sunday night if that happens. But I will say this, as if it's not going to be, a difficult enough assignment going down to Paul Brown, and oh, by the way, playing a vastly improved football team now in the Cincinnati Bengals, vastly improved. We got a better record than the Browns do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's not going to be difficult enough with that of itself, now you got all of this hanging over everybody's heads. And so you got to all of a sudden wipe all that away and get some of all these issues that the Browns have on the football field that they're having to deal with. Like not being able to produce points in the red zone, turnovers forced defensively way down, Kenny, 30th in the NFL now, 30th. This last year, I want to make sure. I said, wait a minute, the defense was coming up with a lot of takeaways last year. So I'm thinking about that, and I said, well, I'm going to go back though and look at it and make sure I'm right. Last year, after 8 football games, Kenny, the defense has had 14 takeaways, counting picks and forced fumbles recovered. They've got 5 right now. That's 5. They are not taking the football away any longer. Nowhere near what they did last year. So, I mean, that's a concern. Offensively, 32% converting 3rd and 4th downs in the red zone. I mean, that's a big concern. You got enough going on within the structure of playing the game and trying to get the ship righted and win, and now all this too. It's a damn shame. It really is a damn shame. There's no, I don't care how you want to break it down, what side you're on. It's just for a team that has so much expectation and some pressure, Ketty, I think to live up to all that expectation. This is going in the wrong direction, man. Wrong direction.
Yeah. Michael, the way I see it, they have 4 options. All right, tell me if you agree on this, okay? The 4 options that they have, that Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, and the Browns have are this. Keep him and play him. Keep him, don't play him. Place him on waivers and hope somebody picks him up and pays the remaining $8 million of his contract. Or cut him, he clears waivers, and he becomes an unrestricted free agent and can sign with whoever he wants to, but you're responsible still for the $8 million. Those are the 4 options. The other option was they could have traded him. And for whatever reason, I would have taken a 7th round pick, a 6th round, just to get rid of him, even if I had to pay the salary. And at least I was able maybe to control where he went, right? Now you can't. No. If you put him on waivers, anybody can claim him if they want to pay the $8 million, right? Yep. Or everybody can just wait to see if he clears waivers, and then he gets the pick where he goes. So
where he wants to go.
Trading him by Tuesday's 4 o'clock deadline, you lost any leverage that you had to make sure, if you're afraid he could come back to bite you in the ass, by playing in the AFC. You lost that opportunity by maybe thinking you can get too much for him or asking for too much. Right?
Oh, that's right. No, that's right. I really thought they were going to move him, Ken.
So did
I really did. And I would tend to, hey, we know. No, guess what? No, you're not getting a 4th, 5th rounder anymore. No.
Right.
So you're going to be a 6 or a 7. But I would have thought they would have moved him, and we can go on, with that train of thought in mind. And now you got kind of now there's a money situation involved. So now you got Andrew Berry doesn't have the bottom line on this anymore. Now it's Jimmy Haslam about what they're going to do with regard to whether or not, as you just suggested with the scenarios, whether or not they want to keep paying this man.
Whose fault is it, Michael? Think about that. We got to get to a break. Whose fault is all of this? Is it OBJ's? Is it Baker's? Is what they put out there on film from his dad and that production company? Is that accurate? And Baker stinks and he's not hitting them, when he's open? Or is this a Kevin Stefanski problem, which, comes over from the Minnesota Vikings when, Stephon Diggs was unhappy and he got his way out of Minnesota to Buffalo. So when we come back, Michael Rega here on the R&R podcast, well, we'll answer that question and preview the matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals this Sunday. So stay with us. Hey, the Roadman Kenny Rhoda here for Northfield Park, and Northfield Park's your home for live and simulcast racing, but we want to remind you about the excitement of live harness racing every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and Sunday evening. Post time is 6 p.m. They're open early every day for simulcast action as well. And check this out. In the month of November on Wednesdays, all right, it's Cookware Giveaway Wednesday. That's right. Guests deposit their non-winning Northfield Park mutual tickets starting at 6 p.m. into the gold barrel to be eligible for a drawing to win a piece of cookware each week. Drawings take place on Thursday mornings, and winners will have until the following Tuesday to claim their prize. You can enter to win on November 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 24th. And also, don't forget about the weekly Sunday handicapping contest featuring Belmont Park. Top prize is $500 each week. Registration there begins at 11 a.m. And the Breeders' Cup World Championships are this weekend, Friday and Saturday, November 5th and 6th. Visit Northfield Park to watch and wager on the exciting racing action from Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Free admission and free parking every day at Northfield Park.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. Listen, it is beyond time for you to join a book club. I know you've been thinking about it and everyone's doing it. Here's how Books with Brooks works. We read one book a month and then we talk about it. Classics like Stephen King's The Shining, debut novels like We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lang, and tons of other compelling, life-changing stories, one book and 1 month at a time. So come read along with us and then listen in.
Hello, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of the Producing While Asian podcast. Join us to listen in on conversations with everyone who identify from producers to non-producers who all are part of the AAPI community. There's all that and more on the Producing While Asian podcast here on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And welcome back to the R&R podcast powered by MGM Northfield Park. And check it out Wednesdays in November, cookware giveaway. Guests deposit non-winning Northfield Park mutual tickets. That would be me, the losing tickets, whatever. Starting at 6 p.m. into the gold barrel to be eligible for a drawing to win a piece of cookware each week. Drawings take place on Thursday mornings, and winners have until the following Tuesday to claim their prize. Enter to win November 10th, 17th, and 24th. Northfield Park, free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. All right, Michael Rega, as we went to break, whose fault is it? Where's the blame go in this OBJ saga? Is it on him himself? Because he's just not who he thinks he is. He's no longer that dynamic all-pro caliber wide receiver. Is this on Baker Mayfield? And the video that his dad sent out on social media is showing you that Baker is not a good quarterback, and he's missing his son, his wide open son on all these routes. Or this a Kevin Stefanski problem like it was maybe with Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs in Minnesota when Stefanski wasn't there. Thielen was averaging 7.1 catches a game and Diggs was averaging 6.8. Then when Stefanski came in, Thielen went from 7.1 catches a game to 3 catches a game. Diggs went from 6.8 catches a game to 4 catches a game. So is Kevin Stefanski misusing Odell Beckham Jr.? Who's to blame?
Partner, I'm so glad you brought the Minnesota side up. And you and I didn't even speak about that, did we?
No, we did not.
No, we did not. But there's the great minds think alike. Kenny knows his offensive football. Yes. Kevin Stefanski's offensive system does not make it easily privy for a wide receiver who expects big targets and big numbers and big opportunities. Ken, it makes that very difficult by the mere nature of what Stefanski wants to achieve first and foremost in his system.
Okay.
It does. And you just brought out, I don't need to say anything else. You just brought out the two biggest main factors that speaks to that and points that out. Those two guys who I think we both agree are two of the top 15, 20 wide receivers in the National Football League. You just gave the numbers. Look how their numbers came down in Stefanski's offense when he took over there. Kenny, it's just that kind of offense. It's more inclined toward ball control. We see it all the time. It's rollouts right, rollouts left, looking to get matchups in your favor. And I would tell you, to me, if I'm running Kevin Stefanski's offense, I'd rather be a tight end, to be quite frank with you. I would. That and the running back, because he wants his running game to be strong. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm fine with that. But, his offense, by its mere nature of what it wants to accomplish to be successful, it's not one that you're going to see the top wide receivers wanting to run and grab onto, Ken, and say, oh, yeah, give me a part of that. That's just not what it is. So now, that having been said, though, I mean, if you're getting paid, Baker Mayfield or Odell Beckham or Jarvis Landry, you guys are getting paid millions and millions of dollars, okay? It doesn't mean that you can't be, but listen, when a man came in, he laid this out. You know what this is. You know what the offense is going to be, and you know how it's structured, and you know how Stefanski wants to run his offense. Then you know what? If you didn't like, you should have got your agent representation out of right away. Get me out of here, man.
Right.
Get me out of here. I can't function the way I want. You know how these, hey man, say whatever the hell you want. But then if you don't believe this is something that is going to be suited to your specific skill set and it's not going to be good for you, or then don't stay with it. Say want to get out of here then. Because there's you laid it out perfectly. We've seen this with two excellent wide receivers and how their opportunities came down. And by the way, Ken, it was still with a very good football team, was it not?
Right.
With Minnesota?
Yep.
So, I mean, look, this is how the head coach structures his offense. And that's not going to change. Now we go into all the other things, though. You've said it all along. You've been more adamant about it than me with regard to Baker Mayfield, right?
I believe
you don't believe he is a quarterback that has even very good quarterback. Well, he looked like it in the second half of last year when he threw 20 touchdowns to 2 picks and got this team. He looked, but again, but that's got to sustain, man. You can't start finally going the other way.
I don't think he's a franchise quarterback, but I think he's a better quarterback when Odell Beckham Jr. isn't in the lineup.
The numbers whether I or anybody else wants to fight that, the numbers prove that correct, what you just said.
Because of what we just talked about with Stefanski's offense, Michael. It's not built around a number one receiver. It's correct. Built around sharing the football, distribution of the football to your first and second down running back running it, your third down running back catching it out of the backfield, which was Kareem Hunt, maybe now is Dearness Johnson, your tight end, 2, maybe even 3 tight end sets, and occasionally 3 or 4 wide receiver sets, but mostly 2 wide receiver sets, right? So this offense does not highlight a number one receiver. That's not what it's all about. And I think Baker Mayfield is better suited for Stefanski's style of offense when OBJ isn't in there, where you got to maybe force the ball to him. And that's why he threw so many picks when OBJ was out there and didn't when OBJ got hurt last year. So here's the way I'm looking at it for Sunday's game, Reg. This is an opportunity for Baker Mayfield to really grab a hold of this locker room, right? Provide the leadership you expect from a first overall pick and a so-called franchise quarterback by going out there and do what he did last year, beating Cincinnati twice, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception in 2 games in 2 wins over the Bengals last year, right? This is
played
his
real
chance
well against them. Yes, you're right.
To show OBJ, it ain't me, okay? It ain't me. Yeah, I missed you a few times. There's no debating that. But look, we're a better team when you're not here. And I don't know if that's what the Browns are waiting for, to see if that happens, so then they can just cut him and not worry about where he goes. Or if they play and they get beat, then maybe they're thinking, okay, we better hold on to this guy, and it is the quarterback and not the wide receiver. So whose fault is it? I think it's all three, right? I think all three of them have some blame in it. Baker's missed him numerous times, plural, right? OBJ's dropped at least 2 passes and run some routes that were miscommunicated, maybe on his end, not understanding where he was supposed to go, allegedly, right? And then Kevin Stefanski's use or lack thereof of him in all this. I think all three are to blame, but for me, I think you're better off without him, and we'll see Sunday against the Bengals.
Well, there's no question about that. And you're right. This is an opportunity. Now, if Baker Mayfield really wants to state his case, well, you just laid out how he can state his case.
Right.
I mean, you have the type of performance that you had in 2, and again, because it's out there on tape,
Right.
Mayfield played very, very well against Cincinnati last year. I don't believe Beckham was on the football field either time. He
was for the one
first
in
game?
Cincy, because that's when he tore his ACL on the interception.
That was the game. You're right. Yeah,
that's it.
Thank you. Yeah. All right. So then he didn't play the home game. So, and that was with Mayfield having 2 very strong performances.
Yes.
So, look, we can go back to that. Baker's got to start. His ball placement's got to get better, man.
Yes,
it's got to get back to where it was last year, because again, and this, to me, this is they don't have to be mutually exclusive. This doesn't have to be a Odell Beckham Jr. thing, Ken. I just think overall, every Sunday I'm sitting here as I'm Baker. You got to get this football out on time, and you got to get it on this receivers with greater consistency than he has, Ken.
Yeah.
I mean, and anybody that doesn't see that, then again, with all due respect. So again, but it's not just Odell Beckham thing. I'm talking about Baker now.
Okay.
His ball placement has taken a bit of a turn south this year. He's left points on the field in the red zone. And okay, so again, I'm just speaking about what I'm seeing in the quarterback's play. And nothing to do, really, that has nothing to do with Odell Beckham Jr.,
right,
except that he and the other receivers are on the receiving end of that. Go back and look at that very first possession. He had, was it Austin Hooper?
Hooper. Yep.
He had Hooper, could have just caught it and skipped in backwards for a touchdown. Threw the ball way high without a defender near him.
Right.
So, no, and what do you wind up with? Right. No touchdown, and you wind up kicking a field goal.
Yeah.
So
now, was it a catchable ball? Yes, but it was a tough catch. Okay. And here's what I'll say,
and
Michael.
especially Ken. Look, there was no defender on him, Ken.
No, that's the thing.
He was open.
And here's where I want to go with this, Michael, because we found out today that C.J. Stroud admitted that he broke his collarbone in the very first game against Minnesota, okay? And then we watched him play the next couple of weeks in the loss to Oregon, and his ball placement was way off. He was missing guys, but that was supposedly the throwing shoulder. So that, explained maybe why he was off with his throws. He took a week off against Akron and then came back, and he's been pretty good since. Baker, Michael, remember, the first 2 weeks was leading the NFL, 81% completion percentage. And then he gets hurt, right? And
Yep.
ever since he's been hurt, he hasn't been as accurate. So I believe that shoulder injury is affecting his accuracy, because what was he known for coming out of Oklahoma, right?
Ball
Pinpoint
placement.
accuracy.
Accuracy. That's right.
So,
And when you said it too, I mean, there again, we all admire the toughness and the want to and the grit, and saying, hey, I'm the leader of this football team. I'm the quarterback, and I got to go out and do my job. You've said it twice, I believe. I know twice you've said it in the last couple of weeks. At what point, though, now, because of the injury, are you not able to play the position the way it needs to be played at that immense level that's conducive to winning?
And isn't that up to Kevin Stefanski to make that decision and not Baker Mayfield if Baker's hurting the team?
Yes.
Not if Baker wants to play, right? I want to play hurt.
Well, yeah, he wants to play because he's already shown you that. That's probably the biggest part of his DNA.
Right.
That's probably higher on the Baker Mayfield quarterback positive list than anything else, quite frankly.
Absolutely.
The guy's a tough-ass guy that wants to play football.
Right.
And he's willing to do whatever he's got to do. And that's great. We love that. We all admire that. But again, you've said it twice. If it's not conducive to being able to allow your football team to win in the most important position in all of team sports, bar none, well, then what are we talking about here?
That's where Kevin Stefanski needs to step in and say, Bake, thanks. We're going to go with, Case Keenum until, it doesn't work with him, or until that thing heals better. We'll keep you, active as the backup, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe just go get some rehab done on that for later in the season, and let's see how things go with Case Keenum. See if that gives us a better chance to win until you're 100% healthy. Because the job of the head coach is what? To put his team
best position to win. Period.
Not a player, not a single player, OBJ or Baker Mayfield. His entire team in the best position to win.
The main thrust of what a head coach or a baseball manager is at a team sport. That's got to be over and above. And I know that wouldn't be an easy conversation to have. I get it. And I can say, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, damn, I don't want to tell Baker I got to sit him down because, well, yeah, if that's what needs to be done, Kevin, then yes.
Michael, go to Oklahoma. Go to Lincoln Riley this year, had the front runner before the season started with his quarterback Rattler, right? Wasn't he the front runner? And they escaped barely in how many games with him at quarterback? And he went and he said, you know what? I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to give this guy a chance to play. Put in his, backup quarterback. Freshman, right?
Freshman, yes.
And guess what? Rattler's on the bench now, and Oklahoma's still undefeated. The kid's playing better. So he did what was best for the team, not for the individual. Sorry, if they can do that in college, you should be able to make that same decision as a head coach in the pros.
That's right. Nobody's saying it's not difficult. It's not tough. Of course it is. Of course it is. This is your guy. It's your quarterback, man.
Another example. Look at Ryan Day. Kerry Combs, beloved at the Ohio State. He was the defensive coordinator calling the plays through the first 3 games. Well, they lost to Oregon. They looked at that defense. It stunk. Okay, we got to make a change here. Kerry, sorry, we're turning it over to Matt Barnes. You're going to go work with the D-backs, and you'll be up, in the booth there, still helping out with the game plan, but you're not calling plays anymore. Why? Because it was what was best for the team as opposed to the individual.
No, it's got to be the bottom line, Ken.
Yeah.
I mean, there can be nothing else. And again, no, it's not easy all the time. Of course, and especially when it comes to quarterbacks, Ken. There is no other position in all of team sports like the quarterback of an NFL team or a Division I college team. I mean, these coaches, that's their guys. We get it. But when necessary, great, call Lincoln Riley, you got to make that tough call sometimes. And he did, and it's worked out well for his Oklahoma Sooners.
So far, absolutely. And Reg, real quick, before I forget, I found something online. We'll get to a break, then we'll come back and wrap up the podcast here. in a second. NFL on CBS on Twitter. Lowest completion percentage of quarterback wide receiver duo since 2019 with a minimum of 200 targets.
Oh, no. I know where you're going here.
Numero uno, number one on the list with the worst completion percentage of 54.5%, Baker Mayfield to Odell Beckham Jr. Second is Big Ben to Deontay Johnson. Third is Russell Wilson to DK Metcalf. Fourth was Mitchell Trubisky to Allen Robinson. But those are all above 60% there, far ahead of the 54% completion percentage, Mayfield to Beckham. And Michael, I looked at his stats this year. I believe it's with Beckham Mayfield and Keenum, both to Beckham this year. It's exactly at 50%, 17 for 34. So there's got to be something to this, that it can't just be one guy's fault. I'm not absolving Baker Mayfield, but his completion percentage with other receivers a hell of a lot higher than it is with Odell Beckham Jr. for whatever reason, Baker Mayfield, and he just can't connect. So why beat your head against the door? What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Isn't 3 years enough of a sample size to realize this ain't working?
It hadn't gotten any better, and it's really disturbing, quite frankly, when you look at someone of the skill set of Odell Beckham. But it has not gotten better, and it's at best it's just stagnant. I mean, to me, the guys out there, I think I saw he had 58 snaps the other day. You threw the football to him twice.
Yeah.
Twice? Something ain't right, Ken.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take sides all you want.
Right.
But again, I'll just tell you something ain't right when that occurs between a quarterback and a wide receiver. There's a great disconnect there.
Let's do this. We'll get a break in, and when we come back, we'll preview and give you our thoughts on the game coming up this Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals, and can they overcome this major distraction? Could this be a galvanizing game where they show they don't need OBJ and it turns the season around with a win on the road against the Bengals? Or could this be the one that starts to sink the Titanic? That's next on the R&R podcast.
Hey, it's Tito, host of the Premier Fantasy Podcast. Get all the news and analysis you need to dominate your fantasy league. I've been doing this as long as anybody in the business. I can help give you the edge in your leagues. It's the Premier Fantasy Podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Want to hear more about your favorite TV shows and movies that are on countless streaming services?
Then listen to Up Next with your new favorite hosts, me, Kristen Aviles,
And me, Christina Walter.
Every other week, we'll highlight one genre, but 2 movies or TV shows, one old and one new.
We'll let you know what's hot and what's not from your favorite
or least favorite
streaming services.
And be sure to stay tuned to the end of each episode where we shout out an artist whose name you should know for their talent in the industry.
So follow us to stay up to date with your favorite hosts from Up Next,
a part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Hey, I'm Jason.
And I'm Gary, and we love ball cards.
And if you love ball cards too, good news. You just found your new favorite podcast. From breaks to grading.
And from collecting to flipping, join us on the Ball Card Show.
The sports podcast for the sports collector.
Northfieldpark is your home for live and simulcast racing, and they are the sponsor for the R&R podcast. Regai and Rhoda here on the Press Play Podcast Network. So thank you to MGM Northfieldpark. And don't forget, the Breeders' Cup World Championships are this weekend, Friday and Saturday, November 5th and 6th. Visit Northfieldpark to watch and wager on the exciting racing action from Del Mar Thoroughbred Club. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfieldpark. All right, Michael, that's happening this weekend at Northfieldpark, happening in the jungle in Cincinnati this weekend. Browns Bengals first time in 2021. Bengals listed as 2.5-point favorites coming off an embarrassing loss like the Browns. Theirs on the road to the Jets. So both teams coming into this one feeling ashamed of their performance from last week. But to put the cherry on top of the Browns Sunday, you blew a game you should have won at home against the Steelers and the OBJ distraction. So give me your thoughts. Preview Sunday's game between the Browns and the Bengals, and can they overcome this?
Well, I want to say yes, they can overcome it with everything that I believe in, Kenny. I really can't bring myself to see how they're going to get that accomplished. And it's so huge, Ken. I mean, you go 4-5 now, which would put a Bengals win would have them at 6-3, would it not?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
so now you're 2 games behind them. We know you're behind Baltimore in the division, and so it's so huge. And I hope I'm dead wrong, of course, but I don't see this working out positively Sunday for all the things that they're going to have to put aside, wipe away, forget about, and get a win over. As we said, this isn't the Bengals roster that we have made so much fun of down through the years, making fun of the Bengals as if the Browns have been anything to feel real good about up until 2 seasons ago. So, but again, I hope I'm dead wrong, but I don't see the Browns winning in Cincinnati on Sunday. No.
I look at this game, and if there's one way the Browns can win this, okay, putting all this, behind them and everything and overcoming all the distractions and all of that, it's a combination of 2 things, Michael. You touched on it earlier. They have 5 turnovers this year total, right? They've created 5 turnovers on defense. Yep. They must pressure Joe Burrow and force him into a couple of bad throws and maybe a sack fumble and win the turnover battle. To me, that's imperative because if they don't, since he's going to put up 28, 35 points, this week. They lost last week to the Jets. Like I said, it was embarrassing. They had a 4th quarter lead, much like the Browns have had in 7 of their 8 games this year, right? 4th quarter leads, and they blew it. Maybe thought the game was over, did not close against the Jets, but they still scored 31 points. The Browns have scored, 17, 14, and 10 points in their last 3 games.
Exactly.
41 points.
Total.
So you're going to have
averaging
to score
13
points.
A game in their last 3.
Yeah. You're going to have to
and
score
not forcing
points.
turnovers.
Right.
It's a tough recipe to win the league, isn't it?
So short fields off of turnovers to score points and not field goals, touchdowns for the Browns. Can't kick field goals, to win this game. I think the pass rush getting, from what I'm hearing, let me see what I pulled up here today. Returning to practice, Jarvis Landry, Tack McKinley, Malik Jackson, Malik McDowell. Okay. Not practicing was J.C. Treader. On the bike, Jadeveon Clowney, but he going to play, right? He just sitting out for practice.
He don't practice that much.
No, I don't need to practice. We talk about practice, man. What are we talking about? Man. Yeah. So the pass rush, Michael, that's the way to win this game. You must create havoc in that backfield, make life uncomfortable for Joe Burrow, and create at least 2 turnovers, if not more, if you want to win this game. And on the flip side, without Odell, okay, run the damn ball with Nick Chubb and D'Ernest Johnson, okay, and play action off of that and move Baker around. Don't give me this, we don't want to move him around because he might get hit. No, if he's playing, and I don't want any more excuses. If he's out there wearing the harness and he's playing, you got to do whatever it takes to win this football game. And if that means rolling him out and putting him in harm's way, possibly, because that gives you the best chance to win, they must do that because they're going to have to keep up with who's the receiver, the rookie Chase, right? Jamar Chase
from LSU. Been phenomenal. Couldn't catch the damn ball in camp in the summer, and then the season starts for real, and he's been tremendous.
21 points or 21 yards per catch, 7 touchdown receptions, 38 catches in 8 games. So he's averaging about 5 catches a game, but he ain't the only one.
No.
You got Boyd, you got Higgins, Uzama, the tight end is back. He tore his ACL against the Browns last year. Oh,
They
yeah.
got a nice receiving core. They've got a very nice receiving core now. Yes.
And don't forget about Joe Mixon out of the backfield running and catching the football. So Cincinnati's going to score. You're not going to, hold them to 15 points like you did that putrid Steelers offense that got their kicker killed right before halftime on the fake punt. So you're going to have to score, in my opinion, minimum 24 points to win this game. That's minimum. I think it's going to be closer to 30. So the way you do that is pass rush. The weakness of that team, while we mentioned all those skill guys, their offensive line still isn't that great. So you need that pass rush to dominate, create turnovers, and I think that gives you a chance to win the game. If you don't, Cincinnati will win this easily if you don't create sacks and turnovers.
Well, there's your recipe. You just laid it out. And I also wonder, too, Kenny, I also think it's going to be very, very important for them on the road, and not just because this always serves the team better, but because of all of this damn soap opera that's going on this weekend. They got to get a lead in the first quarter and get with a lead quickly and early. Kenny, they get down 10-0, 14-0 in the first quarter. Look out, man. Yeah. Look out. There might be some fellas that check out. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There might be some fellas that check out if Cincinnati gets that early lead. Yeah. And then start questioning even more than they may be doing right now. So I think, in addition to everything you said, getting the lead early, a first quarter lead it's imperative almost. Again, if they don't, I think it's going to be nothing but more of a big negative.
I'm with you 100% on that. We'll see if Kevin Stefanski is up to the challenge. We'll see if Baker Mayfield is up to the challenge. And we'll see if that defensive line is up to the challenge, led by the sack leader in the NFL, 10.5 with Myles Garrett. So a lot to overcome. And who knows? By the time you hear this podcast, they could have made a decision on Odell Beckham Jr. We don't know. As of this podcast, when we were taping it, he is still a member of the Cleveland Browns and had been excused from practice two days in a row. I'm expecting that to be a third day, on Friday and not play Sunday against the Bengals.
Ken, have you ever heard of this before? Can you remember? I mean, I tried to go back in my memory, like a guy one of your top players on the team, just excused from practice, as in we'd rather not have you here today, right? Because we really don't want to have to deal with all the nonsense and BS today. Right. So you can just stay home, man. Kenny, what?
Well, here's why I think they did
man.
That. They don't want him to practice in case he gets hurt. Then they have to pay him the rest of the season if they're thinking, maybe they could, get out from underneath some of that money if claimed on waivers. So, and then if you don't want him to practice, do you really want him around? Because that'll cause more of a circus, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you know what? Just stay home. Just stay home. And you know who did that? But wasn't that didn't the Cavaliers do that with Andre Drummond, right? Kind of a similar situation, right?
I guess.
Right. Yep. So same thing there. And what they do, end up releasing him, right?
They released him, yeah.
And so I think eventually that's what's going to happen. Never say never. Could they have a kumbaya come to Jesus moment. Everybody, gives it one more try for the betterment of the team. Mm-hmm. I give you about a 1.5% chance of that happening. And 98.5% he's played his last game with the Browns.
Yep. That's probably the way this is going to play out, given what they've done again. Just told them, you have to come to practice. Just stay home, and then we'll let you know about Friday. The two most important practices of the week, Wednesday and Thursday. You've kept, I guess, on paper, one of your top receivers at home, whom you could use, I guess, if everything's going right, to try to beat a division rival on Sunday. But no, you just stay home, and then we'll see what Friday brings. So I agree with you. I can't see him playing on Sunday, and I think you make a great case. He's played his last football game as a Cleveland Brown.
All right, we'll see how this plays out. The soap opera continues as the world revolves around OBJ. We'll talk about it after the Browns-Bengals game Sunday. That's when we'll tape our next podcast, and you guys will have that Monday morning. So hopefully it's about a victory, and we're both wrong on this, and they are able to overcome all of this, Michael Regai. If so, that'll even make for some interesting commentary there too, right?
Sure will. If we're talking about a Browns win on Sunday night, wow, that will there'll be a lot of things we can tie into that, because you just said, I mean, this usually, when things go like this, usually the bottom line is not pretty.
All right, Reg, great stuff as always. We'll do this again after the Browns-Bengals.
You got it, man. Look forward to that Sunday night, Ken.